Good morning, nerds. It is I, Josh, and yes, indeed, I did see Captain Marvel. I was trying to figure out how best to do my review, how best to talk with you guys about it. I've talked with some of you on Twitter already. A lot of people hit me up, asking me my opinions and different things like that. And I'm terribly behind this week on content and different things like that. So I figured the best way to do this was let's do a early morning fan chat live here on the Den of Nerds. So this will be spoiler heavy. Spoiler heavy. Guys, if you come in here, be ready for some spoilers because we're going to get into it. So we'll wait just a couple minutes here so that we fill in. But also, I do want to know what everybody else thought about this movie, if you've seen this movie. I want to know, and I think it'll be really fun to sort of go over different things that we liked and maybe didn't like about the movie and have a discussion like that. So as we wait for more people to get in here, let me know in the comment section, what did you guys think of the movie? Did you guys like this movie? And is it enough of a spoiler thing on here? Is that enough? Do you think that's enough for people to know that there's going to be spoilers? And to be honest with you, I kind of dropped the ball this week a little bit. David, if you didn't see the movie, maybe you shouldn't be in here, man. I kind of dropped the ball this week, a couple of different ways. This will go down as not the best week for the Den of Nerds or for me, for Josh. Just because I've been like sick. I haven't really been on top of my game. I've been sick and I've been exhausted. The biggest thing that the sickness has done is just exhausted me and actually affected my voice, which is really weird. But yeah, I haven't been on the ball this week, guys, and I apologize. We got Disney blocking one of our videos worldwide. Arguably, I probably shouldn't have put the leaked footage in that one, right? And then after that, the next day, I put the leaked footage in the video, and I didn't give a spoiler warning, and I totally messed up, man. I tell you, cold medicine, being exhausted, does weird things to your brain. I'll tell you that right now. So, how did you? I see some people saying it was good. I see some people saying C+. So yeah, as we continue to wait, we'll wait just like one more minute here before I get into my thoughts. And this is gonna basically, I would give you like my thoughts, and then we'll go into Q&A. But yeah, let me know. As you come in, guys. Let me know what you thought about Captain Marvel. And again, I want to say this is gonna be spoilery. I mean, come on, you gotta know it's gonna be spoilery, right? It's going to be spoilery. I thought about it too. I was like, do I do a non-spoilery? Do I do a non-spoilery and then I do a spoilery thing later? Hell nah. It's not my style. Cuz like I don't want to do that. I don't want to do a non-spoiler review. I feel like I will just spoil it anyways. You know what I mean? As I start talking about it, I'll just spoil it. What spider? What are you talking about? There's no spider. KJ says, I liked it. I just felt it missed some emotional connections with the way they told the origin that could have been stronger if they had done it the traditional way. We'll see it Monday, but don't care about spoilers. Awesome, Erica. Cool. I don't know why they blocked that message. I gotta fix my things. And my bot on Twitch is going crazy on people lately, too. I'm always late. Yo, we've only been streaming for 3 minutes. You're not late. It's all good, baby. I wasn't a fan of Fury being so happy. Oh, Al. Wait till you guys hear what I have to say about this, man. Because I gotta be honest with you. For me, this feels a lot like the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 situation for me personally. Okay? And what I mean by that is a lot of people really, really like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It did very well critically. It did very well financially. I didn't like that movie at all. I did not like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 at all. At all. But it's a little bit different because there are a lot of things that I did like about Captain Marvel, but overall, I did not like this movie. Dun, dun, dun. Bim, bim, bim. What was that, Josh? You didn't like Captain Marvel? How dare you not like Captain Marvel? And interestingly, I watched a lot of people on the internet. I saw this guy. I want to, maybe we'll even pull up some of the tweets. Because it was interesting watching this whole thing go down. Obviously, the lead up to Captain Marvel has been ridiculous. Ridiculous. Because, people tried to drag this movie into the political thing. They tried to make it a part of a culture war and all these different things, right? And it caused a lot of weird peripheral stuff to enter the fray when it came to this movie. And I saw a lot of people talking about this online where they were like, oh, man. Like, I saw this one guy, he was like, man, I really wanted to like Captain Marvel, but I don't. And here's why. You know what I mean? And then I saw some people. I feel as though a lot of people, and I had this discussion too, like last night, I really had to think about this. I really had to meditate on it. Mike, if you're in here, Mike, there's a couple people I chatted with on Twitter and DMs last night right away. Al, I don't remember if you and I texted or not. I have to look at my phone. Like I said, I've been sick all week, and it's just not that, it hasn't been a great week for me. But some of the people that I talked to last night, it was like, I really don't. I don't know how to talk to people about this right now. I was like, I need some time. I was like, I need to just kind of close myself away and take some time. But here's the thing, guys. I wrote down a list this morning as I was going over my notes and trying to figure out how to do this. We didn't. I was beat last night. No, it's all good, bro. So I wrote down a list of good and bad. I was like, okay, things that I was irritated by or things that I did not like, and then things that I like. So here's the thing, guys. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things on my bad list. There are 2 things on my good list. So overall, if I had to give it a score, and I don't really like reviewing. I don't really feel like this channel or this company is like a review channel. Like we don't really review things over here. But I also had that philosophy like way back in the day, when we had much less subscribers, about half the subscribers that we had, now. So maybe we should start doing reviews, and I'm going to start opening up a lot more polls, a lot more discussions with you guys about what kind of content you want. So if you guys want polls, if you guys want reviews, we'll do reviews. But we're not journalists. Like we're not journalists. I never want to be journalists. We're not doing it. So now I would have to say, if I was going to give this movie a score, I would give it a 6 out of 10. A 6 out of 10. Which I guess would equate to like a 60% or whatever. And to be honest with you, if you look at Metacritic, I believe the last time I checked Metacritic, it was about there. Okay. Now, the Rotten Tomatoes reviews are a bit higher. I think it's still hanging out in the 80s and different things like that. But I think a 60 is fair. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. The way that I see this movie, like my overall feeling, my overall takeaway from this film was like, I'm like sort of on the fence. I'm like, okay, like I'm with you. And then it just never gets there for me personally. It never turns the corner and I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Also in Marvel movies, there are always these moments. And I call them oh crap moments. And normally I would call them, something else, but we got to be nice on YouTube. We can't swear on YouTube anymore. I always like, and I try to keep track of those kind of moments in an MCU movie. So they're like oh crap moments. So like, for instance, when the Winter Soldier grabs that motorcycle and literally whips it around and gets on the motorcycle within one kind of thing, that's a oh crap moment where you're like, oh. And Marvel movies have to have moments like that for me. Like that's just that. What that equates to me from the comic book is like those panels, whether they be like a page turn and it's a splash page and you're just like, whoa, like blown away, or some really crazy stuff that goes on. I mean, it's a visual medium. You show, don't tell, and action is a big part of it, right? Comic books. Action is a big part of it. So for me, you need those kind of moments. I didn't have any of those moments in this movie. I'm literally watching the movie, and I'm like, okay, I'm with you. Like it's basically a serviceable movie. It's like a serviceable movie, and then kind of never gets there. Okay, now here's the things. Here's the things that I'll talk about. I'll talk about the good stuff, the stuff that I liked, and then we'll get into the stuff that I didn't like. Okay, and I, again, guys, what my thoughts or anybody's thoughts, any person out there that you absorb content from or you like reviews or whatever, you should never allow a person's opinion of a movie to affect the way you enjoy the movie. Never. As I said, many people like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Many people, and I've had discussions with people that bring up very good points as to why they liked the movie, why they felt that it worked. But it doesn't affect like me. Like I'm like, nah, like that's fine. I don't really like that movie for X, Y, and Z reasons. And it's the same thing with this film. I think you should go see Captain Marvel. Like I would ultimately say, go see this movie. Go see this movie. 100% go see it. But in my opinion, it's a 6 out of 10. It's serviceable. It's average. It's an average movie. By the way, I want to know in the chat, guys, do you know who Comic Book Girl 19 is? And do any of you watch her content? Comic Book Girl 19. I do want to know. Let me know in here. Oh, and let me get this out of the way too. Let me get this out of the way too. The idea of like feminist whatever propaganda, or the idea of all of this kind of female central stuff, the idea that stuff hurt the score for me at all that's not true. None of that stuff bothered me. It's in the movie, and as I said to you guys many times, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be in the movie. Like it's their first female. Of course that's gonna be in the movie. You know, female empowerment. That's obviously gonna be in the movie. Didn't bother me at all. It did not bother me at all. None of that stuff bothered me. That's not the film's issues. That's not the problem. But anyways, let's talk about the good stuff first. Let's get into the good stuff. I think I've done enough rambling about why you should not listen to me. But here we go. Listen to me now. Okay. The one of the things I really liked is Carol's connection to the Tesseract. Okay? Her connection to the Tesseract, and the fact that Dr. Larson was looking and experimenting on the Tesseract in order to use it to make technology. Now, this is something that has already been in the MCU quite a bit, but I like the way it was done in this film. The Kree have been around for a long time. I loved this connection. You know, we talked about on the show yesterday on the Nerdy News Rundown. We talked about the plot leak that was out there, the first 2 acts, and they talk a lot about how Carol is basically an Infinity Stone. Like she's kind of like a copy of an Infinity Stone. It really looks like that is the case. Like her energy signature, the way she got her powers is all connected to the Tesseract. And I thought that was really cool. Now, it's not the way that it was done. Like it's interesting the way they do it in the movie. It's different than what they did with the Scarlet Witch thing, right? You could almost say that like in the MCU, like Strucker and using the stone, which was the Mind Stone, to create powerful people was sort of like a human. It's at the level of human ingenuity. The Kree have obviously more advanced, so the level that they do it really high. The only thing that confused me was like, why? How did she live exactly? Like I really feel like if I'm writing this movie, if I'm working on that scene, she should be like dying. Like way more blood, like she should be like dying, and then the Kree sort of take her. They're like, "Don't let her die," almost like an Anakin thing at the end of the movie, right? I feel like that should have been. But to be fair, I really enjoyed that. Okay, the other thing I really enjoyed was the connection to the Kree. Everything to do with the Kree was freaking amazing. I loved the Kree. I loved being on that planet. I loved when Carol can't sleep and she goes to fight with Jan Rog, which like did they even say his name in this movie? Guys, please, if you've seen the movie, please let me know in the chat. Do they ever mention that Jan Rog is Jan Rog? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, did anybody mention that? Is that ever mentioned? Because I don't remember. But yeah, so I like everything with the Kree. Okay, the technology, the effects, all of that. People are saying yes, they did. Okay, cool. So I liked everything with the Kree. I thought that was really freaking cool. Okay. Now, if you've been following the channel, if you're like a hardcore, if you're in the notification squad, if you've been hanging out with me, you'll know that the one of the biggest draws to this movie for me was the Kree and the Skrull. So the Kree and the Skrull and the Kree and the Skrull War are just it's just awesome for me in comics. Like I love that side of Marvel, their cosmic side, their sort of version of Star Wars and different things like that. So I really like that aspect of the universe, and so I was really looking forward to the take on that for me. Ultimately, and this is just a personal thing, but this is where a lot of my problems with the movie come from. Okay, uh, so the scrolls. If you've seen the scroll in this movie, I fundamentally disagree with the direction that Marvel took with the scroll. Okay? And it's really hard, like personally, really, really hard to get past this. Perhaps upon seeing it again, I can let this go and just settle into it and be like, okay, here we go. This is the way they're going to do it here in the MCU. I guess I should just buck up and get used to it. But similarly to what happened in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with the all gold people and just a lot of the aliens in general. I don't know why, but it feels like Marvel continues to use the alien races from Marvel Comics as like gags. They're gags. They're gag characters. You guys know the meme out there that's like, "Am I a joke to you?" Like I really felt like somebody should do a meme where it's like the Kree and the Skrull are these amazing alien races, brutal, savage warriors, amazing, all this comic book history. The Kree are treated very well in this movie in regards to that. And then the Skrull should be like, "Am I a joke to you, Marvel?" Because they're literally joke characters. A lot of people loved. We looked at the reviews and the social media stuff. People loved Ben Mendelsohn's performance in this movie. It's a great performance. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it so much. It's a great performance. Like he kills it. But I'm like, wait a minute. So he's a jokey, quippy Skrull that is a family man? He's a family man? Ugh. What? Like, I just didn't like that direction. I didn't like that direction. It felt really gaggy. The Skrull, honestly, the makeup effects on them looked cheap. Like, literally, it looked like crap. And they continuously used... Here's what's really interesting about this, though. I will admit this. I actually thought many of the cuts to the Kree were hilarious. Like there's to the Skrull rather. There was a lot of moments where they look at the Skrull and the Skrull like does like one of these like I don't know, or like something really like it's like a gag. You know what I mean? They do that a lot. There's different cuts when they go to the Skrull and the Skrull like I don't know. I was like, dude, what? And I found it funny. Like I laughed at it. I ended up laughing at it. I thought it was cool. Yeah, the Skrull scientist Skrull and all that. Yeah. Oh, and yeah. So that Skrull definitely didn't like. It's very hard for me to get past that. So it's like interesting, right? I'm trying to like tell you how I feel about it. The honest to God truth is like I was super looking forward to the Kree Skrull War. I want super Skrulls. I want badass general Skrulls. I want like Skrulls that are doing all sorts of crazy stuff, messing people up in armor, regal, badass. It says spoilers all over the screen, bro. Yo, cool guy Chetty, you see the door? Use it. Get out of here. You're out of here. You're out of here. I'm literally banning you from my channel. You're out. Bye. So, next couple things that I didn't like. Pacing and editing. Pacing and editing. Guys, this is a very poorly edited movie. This is a very poorly edited movie. The pacing in this film is so weirdly bad to me. And here's the thing. Marvel does a lot where they grab, up-and-coming directors or even established, like they got Kenneth Branagh to do Thor 1. You know what I mean? Like, they do a lot of cool stuff. They do a lot of cool stuff going after directors, and they take chances a lot. I mean, the Russo brothers is the ultimate, like, underdog, ridiculous story of cinema. The Russo brothers are like comedy directors. Do you know what I mean? The Russo brothers are comedy directors, and they come in and they're actually amazing directors, amazing storytellers. Just amazing conceptual, like, character directors. They've done so much great work in these movies, and we're honestly spoiled. I feel like the Russo brothers sort of spoil us and set up this crazy expectation. So let me give you an example. So I like Black Panther, the movie. I liked that character more in Winter Soldier than I even liked him in his own movie. And there are moments in Winter Soldier, there's just the way that the Russo brothers directed that character that, A, made him more badass, because I way prefer the action sequences in Civil War when it came to Black Panther than I did in the movie itself, because the CGI stuff was, like, super whack. They have two Black Panther bodies fighting each other. Whatever. That scene's awful. So it's just interesting to me that, like, the Russo brothers almost are, they're like literally so good that they make other people look bad by comparison. Do you know what I mean? That's it. Al Schuler's out of here. He's pissed. It's just the truth, man. Like, the Russo brothers are just a special kind of talent. We've literally been spoiled. And when they took a chance on these two directors, this male-female team that was that directed Captain Marvel, like, you really, in my opinion, they should have reeled these people in more. That's just my opinion. The editing and the pacing of Captain Marvel was bad. It was bad, dude. Like, I don't know what else to say. It was bad. Like, the movie, the pace of the movie is like, okay. That's it? That's the pace of the movie. In fact, that somebody clip that. Oh, we're not on Twitch, but somebody should clip that, because the truth is, if I was going to do like a non-spoiler review or like even a spoiler review, here's my review of Captain Marvel. Maybe I'll literally put this up. This is me going through Captain Marvel. Okay. That's it? That's me talking about Captain Marvel. So, editing, pacing, bad. Now let's get into the stuff that I really didn't like. Yo, boy. If you guys can't handle someone really not liking something within a movie that you like, you might want to leave right now. You might want to leave. Okay. The explanation for Nick Fury's eye is the stupidest thing in the MCU. I'm going to repeat that. The explanation for Nick Fury's eye is the stupidest thing in the MCU. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It was bad. Chris Lindsay coming in hot with the super chat. Thank you so much for that. I can see why the Russos didn't want her in Endgame. She absolutely changes the universe to OP. Okay, so a couple of things about that, Chris. First of all, I don't believe that rumor. The Russo brothers didn't want her. I know I talked about that leak on Reddit. That does not mean I endorse it as fact. That actually I don't think happened. I don't think the Russo brothers didn't want her in this movie. But having said that, yeah, she is too OP. They talked about that though. They talked about trying to find an interesting way to like make her weaker in their movie. So again, I'm really actually looking forward to seeing this character in Endgame because I trust the Russo brothers so much as writers and directors, and I think they will do something to help with this situation. Okay, but let's get back to the Nick Fury thing. This is the worst thing in the MCU. This is the worst thing in the MCU. And the reason it's terrible is because, A, you don't even need it. Okay, this reminds me very much of what happened with Han Solo. The Han Solo movie, which, again, I did not like that movie. A lot of people like Solo, and that's totally cool, man. That's totally cool. But when they explained what Han Solo's name was, I was thinking of that gif from Michael from The Office where he's just like, no, no. And that's the same thing that I felt about this Nick Fury thing. It is so stupid that a flirkin scratches him across the eye and then it just makes him blind, erodes his eye out or whatever. And Nick Fury is just completely cavalier about it. It's literally the dumbest thing that they could have done. I mean, maybe not. Maybe objectively they could do stuff that was more dumb. But man, I got to tell you, that was really irritating. I was like, that is so dumb. It feels like the most reductive, terrible kind of writing in Hollywood, where it's like, well, we've got this B point down here. Let's go back and let's plug in some stuff here that'll connect to there. Cool. Hated it. Also, the Avengers thing. Now, I actually missed this. Okay, so I went with my buddy late last night, and we were asking about, or at the end of the movie when Fury is making the Avengers initiative. Correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but I believe what happens is on the plane. It literally says Carol the Avenger Danvers. Am I wrong about that? Please let me know in the chat. Anybody, let me know. Am I wrong about that, or is that indeed what Marvel did? Okay, so people are saying I'm right. Okay, here's the thing about that. That is the stupidest idea in the world. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. There's no reason. You don't need a reason for the Avengers. You don't need a reason to have the Avengers called the Avengers. You know why the Avengers are called the Avengers? Because it's badass. It's awesome. And now we got to tie that name, the name of the Avengers, to the call sign of a character. So you're telling me, Marvel, you're telling me that Nicholas J. Fury, back in the day, S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, an alien lady drops out of the sky. He uncovers this plot of shape-shifting aliens. His whole world is turned topsy-turvy. And after spending, what was it, like a couple days with this lady, he now... Like it just doesn't make sense. I'm getting frustrated even thinking about it. I just think that that's a terrible thing to put in there. It's like the very, very blandish, like reductive writing where they're like, oh, you know what would be kind of cool? Oh, man, Carol Danvers' call sign could be the Avengers. Nicholas Fury could see that her name is that and call the Avengers because of her. I know it's nitpicky, you know what I mean? It's overall it's not really that important, but it just irritated me. It was like the icing on the cake, man. It was the icing on the cake for me. Now the last thing that I want to talk about what I did not like about this film. And then we got a super chat in here from Aaron H. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate it. I think Widow was talking to Carol in the first trailer when she was explaining what Thanos did and half of life was being exterminated. That's actually a really good point. That could actually be the case. That Black Widow could be talking to her in that trailer. That's a very good point. Could definitely be there. Okay. Last thing that I really didn't like about this movie. No. Rich Band says, sounds like the worst $10 you ever spent. Well, first of all, I spent like 18 because I live in Philly and I saw it in 3D. And second of all, no, definitely not. And I know that it might be giving that impression because I'm seriously passionate about the things that I didn't like. But no, like, again, I recommend people see the film. You should go see the movie. Stamp of approval for me. Go see the movie. But it's just okay. It's just okay. Last thing I really didn't like about this movie was the marketing. The way that they're marketing Avengers Endgame is like people will write books about that and talk about how brilliant that marketing has been. And Marvel in general does a really good job with their marketing, building up secrecy, building up all this stuff. To be completely honest with you, the way that they marketed this film, I felt like was a huge mistake because they showed us so much of it. The movie was completely predictable from the time the opening credit sequence, which, by the way, was dope with Stan Lee. I thought that was amazing. But from the opening credit sequence on, you know exactly what the movie is going to be. We talked about it ad nauseum here on the channel. Obviously, when you get Marvel telling the Supreme Intelligence is like explaining, they're like, we're the Kree, we're badass, the Skrulls suck, we're trying to stop the Skrulls. It doesn't take a genius to be like, I don't think that's going to be the way they do it. I think they're going to wamboozle us, and I think the Skrull will be the good guys at the end. And the Kree will end up being bad. You know, Jude Law's character seems kind of nefarious in the trailers. I bet he'll be the bad guy. It's like super predictable. By the numbers, you knew pretty much everything that was going to go down in the movie. And the end sequence, when she's flying through and bashing all the ships and crushing all this stuff, was awesome. But we've seen like literally almost every frame of that already in the trailers. So that's the last thing. That's what I didn't like. So now let's get into Q&A, guys. God, I feel like I got a little frustrated there and pooed on the movie a bit. Second Street Marvel coming in hot with the $1.99 super chat. By the way, I think that Second Street Marvel is going to end up being a channel that a lot of you guys end up subscribing to and watching the content. I think he's doing a good job there. With his content. The movie is going to be subjective to who likes it, he says. Absolutely. Absolutely. The movie is subjective. And like I said at the beginning, this is why I don't even necessarily like doing reviews. I don't like doing that. And the same thing happened with Solo, where I had to come out and basically say, look, I'm a Star Wars fan, and I like The Last Jedi. That puts me in a weird spot. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people didn't like The Last Jedi. I like The Last Jedi. I acknowledge all of its problems. A lot of problems in that movie. But I overall liked it. And then Solo I saw, and I knew all the stuff was happening, right? All the haters and everybody was like, boycott Solo, all this drama and everything like that. And it put me in a weird spot, man. I watched the film. It's not a good Star Wars movie, in my opinion. I was like, not a good Star Wars movie. And it puts me in a weird spot because it's like, okay, so what do I do? Do I lie about how I personally feel and sort of try to play these sides a little bit? Or do I speak from the heart and talk about what I honestly mean? I would honestly say that I think it's better for me to just be real with you guys and talk about what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. David Burdick, your message got hidden anyways, but I'll answer this question. Do you think the Russo brothers will give us a badass Captain Marvel? I absolutely do. And by the way, did you notice that when I was talking about the things I didn't like, that like Carol Danvers or Brie Larson's performance was not one of the things that I didn't like? I actually felt like she was fine in the movie. I feel like her performance, like, it needs to evolve a little bit. Like, I heard a lot of people talk about how they felt like it was it was very similar to the things they felt with like Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth in their first Phase 1 movies, where it's basically like, okay, yeah, but they need to grow into these characters a bit. You know, apparently Brie Larson has a 7-movie contract, and so she'll have plenty of time to sort of grow into that role. It'll be interesting to see what the Russo brothers do with her in this next film, and I trust them completely, and I think that they will give us a very badass version of it. Like the shot that happened or yesterday, Bob Iger did the press call, right? And there was footage shown to all of these investors. Which, by the way, side note here, these investors get to see episode 9 footage and talk about it on Twitter, but they're not going to show the fans. Whatever, Disney. Second Street Marvel, bam, coming in hot with another super chat, $1.99. Thank you so much. Thumbs up, some likes, or a buck. Support the den. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, I forget where I was going with that, but yeah, the Russo brothers will give us a very good version of Captain Marvel. Bolvin DeHerder, do you want a Russo brothers Star Wars movie? Hell yeah. Avi, bro. Yeah, I was a little higher on it than that, but it was more based on a feeling than, wait, don't get me started on that Star Wars footage shot. Yeah, it's a little upset. Do you think they'll do Carol Rhodes' romance in the future? Really hard to say. I'm really interested in like where they're going to go with this character. By the way, I just think Marvel, talk about how they did Marvel. I mean, I felt like the way they did Marvel was fine. I actually really like her secret base. Like, it's basically Marvel. It's Eric, right? Lawson. I think it's Eric in the comics. It's that whole story done, but it's just a female instead. Like, I'm like fine with that. I don't really care. I thought it was cool. And I tell you what, I really liked like the secret base and how this base was just above Kree in space. I thought that was really cool. Benjamin Jameson coming in hot with the $2 super chat. No question. Just supporting the channel. I love it. I appreciate it. Al Schuler, having seen the Captain Marvel movie, what do you think of our Endgame theory now? Whew, tough to say, man. They really don't give you much in that movie when it comes to the quantum realm, right? They really do not give you much about the quantum realm at all in Captain Marvel. So, yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. Oh, Lashana Lynch was amazing. She was probably the best performance in the film, to be completely honest with you. I felt like she was really, really good in the movie. Captain Marvel fights Thor and Iron Man in Endgame. Yeah, we heard about that, apparently, and that's in a leak or whatever. Yeah, maybe she does. Walter Lawson? Maybe it was Walter. I thought it was Eric. Post-credit scenes. What do I think about the post-credit scenes? Well, we kind of talked about that on the show this week. I thought it was really cool. I'm excited to see. I'm a little bit confused as to, like, so Carol's been in space for 30 years helping the Skrull. Like, is she like Moses? Like, is she just lost in space with the Skrull? You know what I mean? And, like, are we never going to get nefarious or evil Skrull at this point? Like, it seems like, it kind of seems like Secret Invasion is kind of off the table now. Because the Skrull are good guys. Alex Rodriguez coming in hot with the super chat. $1.99. Josh, do you think Captain Marvel really deserves a sequel? Deserves a sequel. I don't know how to answer that. I really don't know. I really don't know how to answer that. I mean, it's getting a sequel, right? It's likely to get a sequel either way. I actually think that like solo movies and those kind of movies in general in the MCU should go away. I don't even think we need like solo movies anymore. Like there shouldn't be a Thor movie anymore. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be a Doctor Strange movie anymore. For me, I don't think you need it. Like you don't need that. You can just, you know what you can do is just be like, do events in the comic books. Do an event film and then interweave your characters. You've got such great characters now. Yeah, Monica was amazing. Benjamin Jameson says, why was she able to absorb her power? I have no freaking clue, man. I have no idea how she absorbed that power. She just gets lucky. I mean, it's the same thing in it's a very Marvel-y trope, right? How does Daredevil get the powers from the radioactive stuff? How does the Spider give the powers to Peter? You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't really think you... Let's be fair, let's be fair. We're talking about comic book characters here, right? Was it a little weird? For sure. Unless the Skrulls are playing the long con. They're pretending to be good, but are planning something nefarious. I mean, Skrulls aren't good. They're evil, right? Like the Kree. There are good and there are bad Skrull. But yeah, like they're not good. They're not like solely good. And I mean, look, I haven't read Secret Invasion in a long time. I saw somebody in the chat saying, like, if you read Secret Invasion, you'll remember that they were refugees. I don't remember that. I remember them being, like, crazy. A lot of them actually thought that they were the person that they were, like, cloned into. And there's weird stuff like that. But, dude, they were evil, bro. They were evil, nefarious. It was crazy. People were dying, being infiltrated. It was nuts. So I just think that it's a shame the way that they've done the Skrull in this movie, and the way that we'll get them in the future. I'm not super excited for. All right, thanks, Wayne. Have a good day yourself, man. Yeah, they need to build back their population first. I suppose that's true. Yeah, I mean, like, you could make an argument that the energy itself from the Tesseract mutated her genes to allow her to be able to absorb the power a little bit more. You could make that argument. Talos. Yeah, I should have called him Talos. Like, what were they thinking in that movie? But Talos, yeah, Talos. These people read some comic books. You know what I mean? But yeah, Talos was a really cool character. I like Mendelssohn's take on it. I felt like he chewed up the scenes, man. He chewed up the scenes. He was great. But I just fundamentally disagree with the direction they went. Paying to say, love your show. Kara Mursky coming in hot, $9.99 with the super chat. Guys, that's my mom. Don't tell anybody. I know we get plenty in here in YouTube, but did y'all see the trolls in the movie? What do you mean, like the trolls in the movie, or like whatever? I don't understand your question there. Here's the thing. People came out for this film. The theater was packed, and I think the theater will be packed this weekend as well. People are coming out for this film, so this idea that the movie's not going to make money, that's ridiculous. The movie's going to make a lot of money. A lot of people, I think, are going just because they're like, it's the next Marvel movie. Like, I'm geared up for that. So, I would imagine some females are probably going to go check it out. Maybe they've never even done it before, a Marvel movie before, and there'll be a lot of females going to see the movie. And that's totally cool. I say this. The one thing I was saying, I was talking to my buddy last night, and I was like, dude, what a lot of these like haters don't understand, or maybe they just choose to ignore it, is that there's plenty of dudes out there that have been trying to get their girlfriend to go to a Marvel movie for like the longest time, and this is the movie that they can then do that. You know what I mean? So they can sort of like say, it's, look, it's the first female superhero movie, blah, 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 you'd love it. And it's sort of like an in for you to get like your girlfriend to go see this movie. And I just feel like this whole like, I hate it because it's pushing up women and stuff is like, that's a stupid stance to take, in my opinion. I think that's really stupid. And we got a super chat coming in hot. Edwin Pastrana. I'm so bad with names. I hope I got you there. Thank you so much for the support, my friend. How did the Avengers find the pager? TBD. To be determined on that. We have no idea. Jason, was this movie better than Wonder Woman? Absolutely not. Wonder Woman was a way better movie than this movie, in my opinion. And that includes the whack third act of Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is a awesome movie that like kind of goes off the rails in the third act, and I still personally like it. But even with all of that said, it's a much better movie than Captain Marvel. What? Elliot, it blocked your thing. I'll show it. Wonder Woman sucked balls. Hey, man, it's cool that you feel that way. Totally fine. I disagree. How did they find the Tesseract in the ocean if Goose had it? Well, it's clearly a lie. They lied about that. That's the thing, right? They lied about that. Also, when Coulson was messing, like, here's the thing. Yeah, this movie does mess with the timeline a little bit. It sort of retcons some things because the whole time in the first phase of the MCU, they're talking about S.H.I.E.L.D. and Coulson is saying we haven't come up with a good acronym for it. He's like, but now when you look back at that, he's like, well, he was obviously messing with Tony Stark. Like, it was clearly S.H.I.E.L.D. It was always S.H.I.E.L.D. People knew it was S.H.I.E.L.D. And he was just messing with Tony Stark. That's the only explanation. Otherwise, they just dropped the ball in a big, big way. I don't know about that, Gregory. They found it in the ocean before Mar-Vell got it? Maybe. I mean, okay, so if Pegasus is a program officially by S.H.I.E.L.D., then maybe. Maybe Pegasus did find it in the ocean. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, Gregory, that's a good point. Yep. Am I disappointed about where her red and blue suit came from? No. No, not really. I felt like that scene was a little bit weird, though. Like, how is Monica Rambeau swirls her finger on this alien technology on the wrist of Captain Marvel and is somehow changing the color scheme on the suit, and she knows how she's doing it? All right. You understand, Josh, but incels don't because they never have girlfriend. Yeah. Mike Noir says with the super chat, $5. Thank you so much for the support, my friend. You understand, Josh, but incels don't because they don't ever have girlfriends to take. Look, I mean, by definition, right? That's their whole thing, right? Howard was studying at Pegasus, and Dr. Lawson was researching it there with them. Fair point. Elliot says the timeline gets all messed up with Fury's eye too. I don't know why that is. If you can explain it to me, though, I'd love to know. Stop with the it cells. You mean incels? I mean, it's a word, dude. I mean, it's a word. I'm not labeling anybody that. Howard Stark found the Tesseract at the end of Captain America, the first Avenger. But them getting it through Mar-Vell would have been set up for Loki to end up with it later in the first Avengers. In the Avengers movie, the Tesseract is still in the Pegasus research base. Interesting. Very interesting. Guys, just so you know, I'm probably going to call it in the next 5 or 10 minutes here. I didn't know how to do this. I was like, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to talk about Captain Marvel? Yeah, so I just chose to do this live stream. I'm going to really try to do an episode of the Nerdy News Rundown as well. I've got a couple meetings in the next couple hours that I got to do, and then I can get to the Nerdy News Rundown. Someone, Mike Noir, coming in hot with another super chat, $5. Thank you so much, my friend. Someone put it perfectly. Wonder Woman was like a fragrance ad. Despite being in a battle, she never bled once. No scratches, no dirt, and even sweat. It didn't even sweat. She's an Amazonian goddess. Her skin is like titanium. And I don't even know if she doesn't bleed. Dude, no way, Elliot. Is that true? In Winter Soldier, his eye was already gone in the 80s with Alexander Pierce. Is that true? Is there a scene like that in Winter Soldier? Someone help me out with that. Second Street Marvel says it wasn't in the 80s. I don't know. I have to look into that. Talk about Ronan. Okay, we can talk about Ronan. I thought it was fine in the movie. I saw some people saying, somebody like hit me up and said there was something off about Ronan in this movie. And I was like, yeah, I mean, he's barely in it. They probably didn't do as much makeup and stuff on him. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I thought Ronan was cool. It was cool that they had him in the film. I feel like it works, but also, like, didn't really amount to much. It didn't really show us much. It doesn't really, like, fill in the gaps at all. You know what I mean? Yeah, but the black face paint comes later, I think, when he becomes more of an extremist. Fury just says the last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye, but he didn't say exactly how. Yeah, I agree. You're right. And they should have never explained it. Or if they do explain it, please make it a little bit more badass than this cat that he has this whole time that he's in its face, and then he knows it's a flirkin and he's still in its face, and then the cat just randomly claws him and takes his eye out, and then he's just cool with it. Bro, I'm sorry. I would not be cool with it. Mike Noir coming in hot. Another super chat. I appreciate the support. But Josh, Thor has bled, sweat, and gotten dirty, and he's a god. Same with most version of Hercules. Just saying. I mean, it's a fair point, but I mean, to be real with you, it's like different universes. It's kind of totally different, man. Like the Asgardians, I don't think are ever depicted in a way where, like, they're demigods at best. You know what I mean? Like they're demigods. Which I guess the Amazonians are as well. And I'm not saying that I'm not standing by like this thing where it's like, oh no, Wonder Woman was an amazing movie. No, there's a lot of issues and problems in that movie. Overall, though, I thought it was a much better movie than Captain Marvel. I mean, in the comics, there were different ways that Fury lost his eye, and all of them were way more badass than this cat scratching him. Totally agree. Wasn't one of them the Winter Soldier? Didn't the Winter Soldier take his eye out? Also, too, I just think fundamentally, like, honestly, if I could, I would go back to the drawing board with this movie and just ask them some fundamental questions. One of the fundamental questions that I would ask the people that were making this movie is, how are you going to make a film that's supposed to introduce Marvel fans to a new character and get people to love this character and really buy into this character? And it's obviously very important that people buy into this character. And then the trope you choose to use for the movie is that the character themselves doesn't even know who they are. They don't even know who they are. So it's almost like at the end of the movie, you're like, if you choose to like Carol, if you're like, okay, I like Carol, you're really like, I like this Carol. Now, when she actually finds out who she is, we'll see. You know, I just feel like it's fundamentally such a weird idea for them to be like, okay, we're going to introduce this character to people. People are going to love this character. We want people to love this character. Let's make this character not have any idea who she is, and we'll discover a lot of stuff about her past in the movie. It's really weird. Like the whole scene with Lashana Lynch and her, where they're trying to like memories and stuff. Lashana carries that scene because Lashana's the one that actually has lost a friend and remembers the friend and has all this stuff to the friend. That scene doesn't work because of Brie. It works because of Lashana. It's just a weird idea. Like fundamentally, I'd be like, I think you guys might want to rethink that. I think that's kind of a weird idea. MB says, I like Carol and I loved the movie and I had a lot of fun watching it, and that's what matters to me. 100%. That's what matters. That's what matters in general. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very happy that you like this movie. Very happy that you did. I think people should see it. What's your favorite movie out of all of the Avengers? Mine was probably Black Panther or Thor Ragnarok. Oh, you mean just like of the MCU? What's my favorite movie? Winter Soldier. 100%. Winter Soldier is the best movie they've ever done, in my opinion. Okay, so you guys want to talk about Avengers Endgame now and what some of this means? So we can talk about this for like the next 5 minutes or whatever before I get out of here. Shameless Wedding Day Super Chat. $2 coming in from Al Schuler. S-O... Oh, crap. S.O to me. Haha. Man, today's the day, Al? Is that true? That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Nick Cuz says, I liked it. I just don't see her being the new face of the Avengers. I mean, look, Endgame's going to do a lot, I think, for that whole thing. What comes after Endgame? Spider-Man. The movie did not give her a worthy foe to take out. It was kind of like Captain Marvel Light, the sequel to Endgame. Yeah, that's another thing that kind of bugged me. Is like at the end of the movie, it's like she stops Ronan from destroying Earth. She beats Jude Law, realizes that he's bad, but just sends him back to the Kree. All right. Again, here's my summary of the movie. Okay. That's it? That's my summary. Oh, she's definitely the person removed from the Endgame trailer. I agree with that. I don't know why, but Russo brothers take each character a level up. It's because they're incredible at what they do. How do they handle Carol in Endgame is the big question. 100%, that's the big question. So first of all, and this is interesting. So back in the day, remember, I did a lot of videos right after Infinity War. And one of the things I said was, I was like, look, based upon what we know right now about Carol, her connections to the Kree and her connections to the Skrull will be very important, because I think those people or those races are going to be affected by the snap as well. And I think it makes sense for them to like get a coalition together to find some people out there, you know, the Skrull and the Kree, let's all work together and let's go stop Thanos. And so if Carol's truly been out with the Skrull trying to help them find a home world for 30 years, then yeah, she'll obviously have a lot of Skrull homies. And so the Skrull will come probably with her even when they go to Earth. And if not, then she'll utilize the Skrull to then go attack Thanos, which is an interesting idea. I like that idea. I think it's really cool. Lisa Brown says, oh my God, how did they phone in the Kree-Skrull War like that? Yeah, if you're a big fan of the Kree-Skrull War, this movie's going to disappoint you, I feel. Yeah, she sounded serious with Where's Fury. 100% she did. Mike Noir says, I was hoping Captain Marvel would be my new favorite MCU movie, not in my top 5, but I love it. Wubba lubba dub dub says, I thought you were going to talk about Endgame. Yeah, we can talk about some Endgame. Sorry, I get distracted easily. So yeah, real quick, we'll finish off with this. I think, you know, I guess the big question for a lot of people is, especially if you go into this movie, this Captain Marvel movie, and you don't necessarily love it. Obviously, I didn't love it. So the question I think for a lot of people is, well, what does this mean for Endgame? Should I be more or less excited for Endgame now? And I would say it has zero effect, which again kind of upsets me, because I was like, no, I wanted to be more excited for it. But it does. It's basically like nothing. It does nothing for me for Endgame. Like, I don't feel like, oh man, they better not have Carol be a big part of this movie. Don't feel that way. Carol should be a big part of the movie. I'm interested to see how she interplays with the other Avengers. A lot of people said that her and Thor are going to connect a lot, because they're both like, let's go kick some ass. And I like that. I like it. Again, I wasn't bummed about Brie Larson's performance. I didn't like hate the Carol character. The movie's just not that great. The editing is so bad. But yeah. So I don't think it does anything for Endgame. I'm just as excited as I was. I'm actually very excited to see what they do with Carol in Endgame. But that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Don Julio coming in hot with the super chat, and I absolutely love your avatar. Boondocks is an amazing show. Amazing show. I went to downvote Captain Marvel, and when I did, it was at 32%. Now they took the audience score away entirely again. Yeah, here's the thing about that, Don Julio. There's a bunch of trolls doing that. I'm sorry, it's true. Like, man, a lot of it, the internet is so weird. You know what I mean? So, like, I sit here, I'm trying to give an objective review as much as I can about how I liked and didn't like Captain Marvel. And then you come in here hot, Don Julio, saying that you wanted to downvote. And here's the thing. Who should you be mad at in this situation? You should be mad at the trolls. Listen to me, Don Julio. Don Julio, are you listening? Are you listening? You know who you should be mad at? The frickin' trolls, man. The frickin' trolls. Because the trolls, there are 59,000 fan votes on the Rotten Tomatoes score. The movie's been out for a damn day. Infinity War, which has been out for over a year, doesn't even have that many reviews. Logically speaking, a lot of trolls went there and review bombed this movie. Now, it's kind of a meme. It's kind of hilarious. I know people get upset about it. But, like, dude, if you're coming at me and you're like, man, I wanted to just give my honest opinion about the movie. When I went to do it, it objectively looked like it was 30%, and now they have removed it completely. Damn you, Rotten Tomatoes. No. Wrong! No. No. The truth is, it's definitely not at 30%. That's a bunch of trolls. Rotten Tomatoes is in a tough spot. What the hell do? They removed the fan score. Who should you be mad at? The trolls, bro. Be mad at the trolls. The Scroll has trolls on their ship. I didn't see that. I missed that. Jesse Baez says, a lot of people felt like they didn't get enough of Captain Marvel in the movie, but remember, she's been contracted to appear in more movies. Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel got this figured out. 100%. 100%. I'm very excited to see what they do with this character. I'm mad at the Skrulls. So people clicking not interested are trolls. Nick D, are you serious, bro? Nick D, let me ask you something. Is that a serious question? So people clicking not interested are trolls. Yo, Dion Street Michael. You're out of here. You're banned from the channel permanently. Bye. Bye. So, Xavier Barry. So, does Thanos use Tesseract to reduce Captain Marvel's power? That was in a plot leak. I'm not so sure about that. I don't think that's true, man. I think that was an opportunistic person trying to get some clout on Reddit, is what I think that was. Ryan, I don't know why did they block this? YouTube's so weird. That's a good point. I think that's funny. I got a meeting in 5 minutes, guys. I got to get out of here. Second Street Marvel. I'm starting to believe that theory too, that they'll recreate the stones, and I think it would be really cool. How can you hate a movie you haven't watched? Really? It's a good point. Joshua asks, so which score is more reliable, the audience score or the tomato score? Bruh, the tomato score. But you should look at, you know what you should, here's what you should honestly do. If you want the best objective thing, reviewing is such a weird thing. Here's what you got to do. Go out there and find people that are either reviewers or that are YouTube personalities or that are podcasters or whatever. And you find the people that tend to view movies the same way that you do. So, like, one of these people for me is Christian Harloff. Christian Harloff and I tend to have a lot of the same tastes. We tend to like the same things. So I always like to see what Christian says about a movie, and I get a sense of how I might feel about the movie in that way. Also, I think it's important to find some critics that you more or less always disagree with, and watch and read and look at those reviews as well. So you look at it and you're like, okay, here's the group of reviewers that I tend to agree with, and here's the group of reviewers that don't, and look at what both sides say to get a metric. I think looking at an aggregate from Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic is it's a pretty good way to go about it as well. Like I said, for me, the movie's a 6 out of 10, and that's okay. Like, dude, that's serviceable. That's totally fine. I think a lot of people will probably put it at like a 7.5 out of 10. I think if they're being objective, again, which is cool. So that's what I would say. What were you looking for that you didn't get from this movie, Gary? And hey, Gary, calm down with the all caps, bro. You're this close. You're this close with the all caps, coming at me with the all caps, you son of a gun. What was I looking for that I didn't get from this movie? That number one, I was looking for oh crap moments, where I'm like, oh, visually blown away. I was looking for the scroll to be more nefarious, more badass, and not be gag characters that essentially equated to kind of a bunch of weak, like laughable little things. Hey, Ice, your comments hidden, you idiot. You absolute idiot. And now you're hidden from this channel as well. All right, guys, I got to go. I got to do this meeting. I'm going to try to do the Nerdy News Rundown in the next couple of hours as well. IgerCon, Bob Iger sat down with investors and showed them a bunch of cool footage that the fans would have really, really wanted to see. So I'll probably talk about that on the show today. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Again, nothing I say or nothing anybody says out there about a film should affect the way you feel about a movie. My final thing is go see Captain Marvel. I think it's good, but not great. All right, guys. So I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next